So, like I said, this was a 52 by 120 tablecloth. I got this tablecloth at the Christmas tree shop, but you can get I got something in my eye. You can get flannel back tablecloths pretty much anywhere. I would not suggest using just a normal plastic like party, you know, the really thin stuff you would use for like a birthday party or anything, because there's not enough structure to keep the petal standing up. So just a normal flannel back. It's quite thin. It's not very expensive, and that's all you need. But I really love this color, and as soon as I see it, I instantly thought of a sunflower to make with it, because I'm all about using other stuff other than just, you know, deco mesh and stuff like that. So we are going to be using the Unique in the Creek large board for this, and I've cut my pieces into 10 by 10 squares. Normally I do 9 by 9, but I have so much tablecloth that 10 by 10 will make a much nicer wreath. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to quickly show, oh, and I'm going to be doing a burlap center. Okay, this is just a 6-inch by 5-yard burlap. It's brown in color. I got this from Hobby Lobby. It was $5.99 with a coupon. You get it off on sale. Or usually every other week it's like 50% off. So I think it was $3. So I'm going to use I'm going to see if I'm going to use this whole roll. I only need 4 pieces, but it's, I'm going to need long pieces. So actually the whole roll will probably be way too overkill. Anyways, I'm going to do the center with this burlap right on the board. So there's no foam ball or anything like that. This is a very, very easy and economical project, and I can't wait to see the outcome. Yes, the board already comes with the holes. There is patterns on our website as well that you can print out the actual pattern and make whatever you want to make. You can actually write your pattern on the paper, and you'll be able to figure out how many pieces and where you're going to put ribbons and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. So this, like I said, is the large board. Okay, I'm going to zoom down a bit so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay. All right. Hi from San Diego. Actually, we are going to California in March. I'm very excited. Okay, so on the large board, there's 5 circumferences, and they're actually numbered. So there's circumference 1, which goes around this way, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We are going to be using circumference 2, 3, and 4 for our pieces of yellow tablecloth, and circumference 5 is going to be used for our burlap. We're going to build our center right on the board. So it's really easy and very, it's a great project for, especially if you're teaching for a workshop, like a fall workshop. And these are really good to teach with, obviously, because you can tell people what row you're on, and each have a set of holes on there. So row 2 has 16 holes, row 3 has 8 holes, row 4 has 8 sets of holes, and row 5 has 4. Row 1 is our outside, and it has 8, and we usually use the outside holes. We put the zip tie through the hole, and we do it up around the outside of the board. These outside holes tonight, we're going to be using just some green leaves from a fall flower bush. I'm going to put a couple on just to give it a little bit of color. But if you want, you could make your sunflower even larger by using these outside holes. Like I said, I'm not going to do that tonight, but there is plenty of tutorials on using these holes on our YouTube channel. So if you go on our YouTube channel, Unique in the Creek, and scan down to, or go down to the large board, click on the large board category, and all kinds of videos will come up. Just click on the picture that you want to learn how to make, and there I will be making it with you. Okay, on row 1 as well, there is 2 indented holes on the board. These 2 holes are used for hanging. So you would put something in these 2 holes to hang with. Usually I use a zip tie, so you would just go down the hole and do your zip tie up as, you know, as loose or as tight as you want. Cut off the end, and there you go. You have a hanger for your wreath. Okay. Tonight I'm actually going to be using this thick twine. I think it's going to give it a nice flair for our flower, and I'll just put a simple bow, and that's going to be our hanger. But normally when I'm doing big, huge wreaths and stuff, I just use a zip tie, and I use a zip tie because they're always handy. Okay, so I'm going to show you quickly how I cut my fabric, or my tablecloth. I have done lots of fabric flowers too. If you want to do a fabric one, again, just go on our YouTube channel and just search under our YouTube channel, just put in fabric, and any of our fabric tutorials will come up. Thank you for sharing. Paddling up the creek, my trip was really, really good. Okay, so I've already cut some of this because I didn't want to bore you guys with cutting tablecloth. But this tablecloth is fairly easy to cut. So what I've done, now I've actually, once I've cut the pieces, I actually went back and put a towel down. I'm just going to show you this quickly. I put a towel down because it's kind of wrinkly. Now when you do your wreath, you really don't see the wrinkles. I have a little bit of OCD, so I wanted to make sure that each piece looked really nice. So what you can do, if you have OCD like me, you can take your piece of tablecloth that you've cut and a towel, put a piece of parchment paper over top of it, put your iron on just a low setting, and just go over it really quickly with the iron, and it will take the wrinkles out. Now you don't want it too high, obviously. You don't want to melt the tablecloth. And it actually makes it a little bit shinier too. So it's really, really pretty. So if you don't like the wrinkles, you can iron it. However, we're going to be, you know, folding it all up to make a flower petal. So it's going to get a bit wrinkly anyways. So I'm just going to show you guys how I cut this. So again, you need your tablecloth. You'll need a rotary cutter. Did I say that right? I think I said that right. Usually I say it wrong. You need a cutting mat. Any crafter should have themselves a really good cutting mat. If you can't afford anything and you really, you know, need one thing for Christmas, put a good cutting mat on your list. Your rotary cutter, and I have, with my mat, came this long, I think it's like a quilting thing, but it's really, really handy, especially for cutting fabric and stuff like this, because it is nice and long, so I use this quite often. But if you don't have something like that, and a straight edge of something, as long as it's firm and solid, that if you slip with your rotary cutter, you're not going to cut it in half or anything. Okay, so I'm just making the seams of this tablecloth, making sure they're all together in one hopefully uniformed piece. Hi everybody. Hi, hi, hi. Okay, so I'm doing my pieces 10 by 10. Okay, so I just want to make sure so pull and make sure these not big, huge wrinkles. Okay, and I didn't really open the tablecloth right up. I just opened it so it was like in half. And as you can see, I've already cut a bunch out of it. But we're going to cut a bunch of petals all at once. So we're going to cut 10 by 10 pieces. So you're going to want your cutting mat or your vinyl on the 10-inch line here. Now, because my cutting mat, the 1 inch is right at the bottom, I'm actually going to put the edge of this tablecloth on 11 so I can see the 1 inch down here so I can cut it straight. Sorry, I'm still getting, I was sick this past weekend, and I'm really still not feeling the greatest, but not bad enough that I can't craft. You guys know me. So I'm just going to put a few heavy things. These are just book ends that I had kicking around, and I use them all the time to weigh things down. So I'm going to put my straight edge on the 1 inch here, and the top of my tablecloth is at 11 inches, okay? Take your rotary cutter, I have a couple different ones. Okay, I'm going to cut it that way. Alrighty. So make sure you have a sharp rotary cutter. It makes life so much simpler. Okay, so we got a 10-inch that way, and now we want to cut 10-inch going horizontal. Is it horizontal or vertical? I can't remember. Anyways, so I'm going to put my tablecloth on the 1 inch here, and then my straight edge on the 10-inch line, and cut it down. That just gave me 1, 2, 3, 4 petals right there. Okay? And now I'm going to cut it at the 20-inch here. Okay, so I have another 4 pieces. Now this end piece is folded, so if I open it up, it's much larger than 10 by 10, but I am going to cut it down so I can still use it. Now you can see all these wrinkles and stuff like that. Like I said, you can iron it out if you want, but once you start crinkling or folding up your petal, it's going to start getting wrinkly anyways. So we'll do, you guys can see from mine to see if it makes a difference. If it's, I'll be able to tell. I'll let you guys know if ironing it is worth your while. Okay. So there we go. That's how you cut your 10 by 10 pieces. Now, if you can't do 10 by 10 and you have like just a teeny tiny tablecloth or whatever, you can do 9 by 9, but 10 by 10 will give you the perfect sunflower. And you are going to need, to do this, 16 plus 8 is 24, plus another 8, 16 plus 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. Yes, I just counted with my fingers. So you need 32 pieces of 10 by 10 tablecloth. If you want to do the outside row, you'll need 40 pieces. We're not going to do the outside row. We're just going to put some green in there. And then we're going to do row 5 is going to be just straight burlap. We're doing the center right on the board. Okay, so once you got your 32 pieces of 10 by 10, you're going to then preload your board. Now, we're going to preload this board closed. I use zip ties all the time. You can use pipe cleaners or Chanel stems. That's totally up to you. Zip ties are way better to use for with these boards. They're easy to use. They don't rust. When you're done, complete your project, the complete back is nice and neat. Nothing's going to scratch a door or a wall or anything. So I really prefer zip ties, and they're really cheap. So we're going to preload row 2, 3, and 4 closed. That means each set of holes is going to have a zip tie. You're going to go down one hole and up the other, just like that, and you're going to zip it until you hear that zipping sound. You're not going to zip it all the way, just a couple little pulls so you hear that zipping sound, and you're going to leave it open. And you have about 3 finger spaces to go with. I always use 18-pound zip ties, okay? 18-pound zip ties, and either 6 to 8 inches in length. I use 18-pound, A, because they're cheap, cheaper than 40-pound. B, they're really nice on the board, so they're not bulky or anything in that. And they keep the deco mesh or tubing or tablecloth, whatever you're using, they keep them nice and snug against the board. So I really like using them. And the heads are a lot smaller than the 40-pound. Let me see if I have a 40-pound here somewhere. Here's one. I have one in black. Okay, so this is a 40-pound in black, and you can see the big difference in size. So the 40-pound is a bit overkill. If that's all you can find, you most definitely can use them, but if you can get the 18-pound, most definitely get the 18-pound. You can use 4-inch. I don't recommend it. 4-inch, when you zip it up, doesn't give you very much space when you zip it to give you any much working space in between the board and the zip tie. So if you can get either 6 to 8 inches, do that. It doesn't matter 6 or 8, because once we do this up, we're going to cut the tails off anyways. So it really doesn't. You really can't tell the difference. I can't even spit out my words. My throat's sore. Let me have a sip of ginger ale. I've been living on ginger ale for the past 4 days. Okay, let's do this again. So we're going to go down and up the other hole and zip it up. I normally preload a bunch of boards. If I know I'm going to be making, 5 or 6 sunflowers, I'll sit in my recliner and put my TV on and with my feet up and just preload the boards all at once. It's kind of therapeutic. It's almost like knitting, right? Gives you your hands something to do, but doesn't take much thinking to do it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to preload. Now I'm not going to preload this whole board. I'm just using this board for demo. So again, down and up the hole and zip tie it closed. So this is preloading closed. For row number 5, you're not going to preload closed. Once we're done the flower, we're going to preload row 5. We're going to preload it open, which means you're going to go down and up the other hole and just leave it. Okay, you will down and up the other hole and just leave it. So that's preloaded open. It depends what flower we're doing. Some require open, some require closed. A lot of the wreaths that have the poof method will require open. And I usually tell you which type to do on that particular design we're doing. Okay, so again, hanging holes up here. I put a zip tie. Tonight I'm actually going to be using this nice thick twine. You're going to zip tie or preload closed row 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to open preload row 5, but we don't have to do that until our wreath is made. Okay, so I'm just going to put this to the side, and we're going to get started on the petal. So let me clean this up a little bit. Okay, so let's take our petals that we just cut. And this is pretty simple. The whole flower, except row 5, is done doing this technique that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put the printed side down. Okay, so we're going to work with the flannel part up. And what we're going to do is we're going to be going from corner to corner. So your square, you're going to turn it into a diamond shape in front of you on the table. Okay, we're going to just fold over the bottom corner here, and we're going to scrunch or make an accordion all the way up to this other corner. So what I'm doing is scrunch, and make sure this is not all gathered up, but just the accordion. Now once you've done a few of these, you get really fast at them, but I'm going to go nice and slow. Now you can do this at the end as well. You just can scrunch all the way. I'll do the next one and then start pulling it out. I just find as you are making the petal, pulling it out and straightening it as you go makes a better end result. Now this corner, we're going to fold it in and fold it in again and then bring it up. Now I do that so when I didn't do that at the beginning. That when I turn it over, we're not going to see the flannel part. Okay, so this is what your petal is going to look like. I will do a couple more. I just wanted to show you. So you're going to straighten it out if it's got some gaps or whatever in there, so it's nice and neat. So you can see all the pleats in there. Okay, now once you have it, you're going to keep it pinched in the center. Don't let go because it will open up. Put it on the table and we're going to flip it up. So with my pointer finger and my thumb, I'm just going to kind of flip that up. And what I'm going to do is just eyeball it just to see if both petals are about the same length. This one looks like it's got a little bit of a jagged edge there. Okay, so as you can see, it looks like it does look like an actual flower petal. Okay, so once it's all even and you're ready to put it in, you're going to take your board. Okay, and we're going to start for this flower, we're going to start working from the outside rows to the middle. So various flowers, depends what you're making, we'll start from the middle to the outside. This one we're starting from the outside to the middle. And why we're starting it like that is because these will all overlap, so you will not see the zip ties. So once they're overlapping, if we started in the center, from the center out, you can see already I'm going to have to fold these back to find my zip ties. It's much easier to work our way in. So you're going to take your petal and we're going to put this bent part or this folded part that we did in the center right in between the two holes in your zip tie. Okay, tighten it up a bit, and I find with pressing down, pressing that center down on the board and then zip tying it tight, it kind of flares out your petals nice and neat for you. Okay, and there we go, we got our first one done. Now you can either use a fancy schmancy zip tie gun. Actually, it's actually pretty handy. I finally figured out how to use it. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, it is like a godsend. It tightens and cuts your zip tie. So once your zip tie is really tight, it will cut it for you. You can also do it the old-fashioned way where you just pull your zip tie and cut it with some wire cutters when you're done. I don't recommend you using your good ribbon scissors to cut your zip ties because it will dull your blade of your ribbon scissors and you will curse. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, now you can do this same petal with a red tablecloth and gold ornaments and make a poinsettia. So I'm sure the Christmas tablecloths, really pretty ones, will be coming out soon. So you know I'll be doing that. So we got our piece. We're going to flip it over into a diamond shape. So our flannel is pointing to is facing the ceiling. All right, we're gonna fold the corner in, just a little bit, fold it again, and then scrunch. Now, I was scrunching and pulling as I was going. You can also, once you got it in, you can just scrunch as you go all the way. Now, it looks like it's all, you know, crinkled up and matted up there, but once you get the center, when you flip it over, you can start fixing the pleats just like that as well. So it's your preference. I just wanted to show you the two different ways that you can do it. I think it's much easier to just do the pleats nice and pretty as you're going along. Okay, and once you got your petal made, we don't want the flannel showing. Okay, we're going to flip it up again. Now we want to just kind of eyeball to make sure each petal is about the same in length. Now I'm just going to show you a little trick that you can do. Now I do everything pretty much sitting in my recliner with a little a piece of wood on my lap, and that's how I do all my wreathing, is right from my recliner. Except if I'm doing a Facebook Live, I'm at my dining room table. But you can pre-make your petals as well if you're doing a whole bunch of sunflowers by buying a package of these. They're clear rubber bands, 500 pack from the Dollar Tree. These are so handy to have, not just for making flowers, but pretty much for anything. You can pre-do your ribbons and stuff like that. And what you can do is once you're folded and it's ready to go, take one of these elastics and go around the bottom of it, wrap it around twice, and there you go. Your petal is ready to go and be inserted into your zip tie. Now you can make a whole bunch of petals, and usually what I do is get a grocery bag and just put all my petals in the grocery bag, and then once the petals are all made, I bring out my board, preload all my board, and then start making the flower. If you pre-do everything, the flower will take you about 15 minutes top to put together. Okay, so I'm going to take this and just stick it in the zip tie, and I press down towards the board, and then cut off the ends of the zip tie. I always have, where'd my container go? Where did my little container? Oh, I always have a little plastic container. Let me grab it. I just emptied it. So I always keep a little container and a bunch of zip tie clothespins to my container. And for cleanup, it makes cleanup so much easier. You just put your tails right into your, this is just like a dollar store Rubbermaid container, a Rubbermaid wannabe. Okay, and then we'll fix up our petal. Okay, I'll do another one and we'll go down here. So again, yes, little rubber bands, they're very handy. I use them a lot for all kinds of things, but it's 500 of them for $1 at Dollar Tree, and they're in the hair section. Also, while you're there, grab yourself some clothespins. Clothespins come very handy too when you're doing crafting. It's almost like another set of hands to help you hold things or pinch things or whatever. So I'm just straightening out my pleats as I'm going, much easier, but you can do it the other way. Okay, there's my petal. I'm going to flip it up. Make sure they're kind of both the same size. You could probably put them over top of each other there to check. Alrighty, I'm going to put this right in, and I'm only going in about 1/2 inch. Enough that the zip tie is not, that the petal is not going to come out of the zip tie. Alrighty, and there we go. So you're going to do this for all of row 2, all of row 3, and all of row 4. Now I have started a wreath, and this is the wreath I will finish, and we will do the center on. Let me clean this all up. Okay. Let's bring over the one I started. Now this one's kind of crinkly, but it'll do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few petals ahead of time, and then I'll bring over my wreath and stick them all in. Okay. I'm going to take my elastics, and we're going to get started. So fold in, and then start your pleats. Now there's no rhyme or reason to what size I do the pleats. I just kind of scrunch, and there is no actual size dimension or anything. And once I know I'm getting a bit close to the end, I'll stop, fold the corner in, fold it in again, and then bring that up. So there's the yellow on the sides. So we don't want the white on the sides, because when you turn it up, you don't want the flannel showing at all. Okay? So we'll flip this up, straighten our pleats out a little bit. Isn't this pretty? This is going to be gorgeous. Gorgeous when it's done. And you guys will be amazed how pretty it is for tablecloth. You guys probably remember the tablecloth I did. So I'm just going to put these to the side now. The tablecloth wreath I did the last week with the pumpkin. It was done with tablecloths as well, just like this. It was done with a different fold, but it's all tablecloth. This is just a half styrofoam pumpkin, and I decorated it with some flowers, and that's the back. Now these are just floral pins I stuck in to hold the pumpkin on. I really probably didn't need it, but I was just showing. And for this one, we did every other with tablecloth. So we didn't even do the whole thing, because I did do the outside row number 1. So if you like this and you want to learn that, it's on our YouTube channel as well. So I did a cute one in the summer as well with flamingo tablecloth. That one was really cute. That's on our YouTube channel as well. But they have a really nice tablecloth at Dollar Tree. I picked up some solid colored ones when I was in Rochester this past weekend. A dark brown solid colored one, and like a moss green, because I did get a lot of pattern tablecloths, but it's nice to put in just a solid color on one of the circumferences just to break up the pattern a bit. But this we're making an actual flower, so I don't want to, I want to keep it all this mustard yellow. And this mustard yellow is perfect for well, sunflowers are pretty much for any time of the year, but this mustard is more fallish color. With the dark brown burlap center, it's going to be adorable. Yeah, the pumpkin wreath was fun to do too. I actually just got myself a styrofoam cutter from Amazon. It's just almost like a hot knife. I haven't used it yet, but I'm really excited to try it out. I usually just use a bread knife and saw it. But trying to make things a little simpler for myself these days. Life is getting a little bit busy. Okay, I'm just going to start putting these in. So I'm going to do row 2, and we'll just start putting these in. You can see how fast you can go if they're already pre-done. And then I will zip tie cut them after they're all put in. It was more of a ruffle petal style for the pumpkin run. Like I said, you can go watch the video on it. It is on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is a little bit better because it's more edited and stuff, so. Okay. Again, I'm going to do a few of these. It's much easier when they're already done. So if, like I said, if you have a few of these to do, or you're doing a craft show and you want to do a few of these, do all the petals, put a movie on, binge watch Netflix. Once you have everything cut, go sit down and make all your petals, put them in a grocery bag. So each grocery bag will have 40 petals in it. And then preload all your boards, and then you can whip them together in no time. It's the easy way of wreathing. They're not the thickest, but we don't really care. We just need them. Now this is really wonky. I'll have to redo this one. You can see the difference in size. We don't want that. We want them to be approximately the same size. You definitely can do, there's a lot of, most sunflowers are made with mesh or poly burlap. If you're using mesh or poly burlap, they make beautiful sunflowers. The problem is, especially poly burlap, it frays a lot. I do quite a few flowers that don't require the edge to be seen, edge meaning the cut part. The only one really that I don't do that will fray is the sunflower. It is recommended to burn the edges. That prevents it, because it is plastic, it prevents it and stops it from fraying. I like to use, and I do it, but I do it safely. I do have a respirator if I have to do it inside. I try and do it outside as much as I can, because it is plastic that you're burning and melting. So a lot of people use a wood burning tool, but I prefer a bag sealer. I do have a few videos on our YouTube channel how to use the bag sealer. The bag sealer, you put the mesh in and press down and hold the button for 3 seconds, and it clicks. Lift it up and you pull it out, and it pretty much melts it and cuts it around at the same time. This prevents it from fraying. And if you do this for your sunflower, you do get a way better result in the end. It does take you more time to do it, but the results are much nicer than if you just cut it with a rotary cutter. I'm not saying you can't, because the less you handle the mesh, the less it gets angry at you. Mesh is an angry type of supply or material. If you only handle it a little bit, it'll stop fraying. Now the only thing when you may give it to the customer and it's no frays. However, if you did not seal it or burn it, if there's wind, your customer's sunflower will fray. Even just the wind will start making it fray. Soldering iron. So just beware that it may not fray when you give it to the customer, but if they're putting it in a windy area or an area that's got high traffic, like the front door, and people are going in and out, that mesh will fray, and the customer may get a little upset. That's why I try and do a lot of flowers where you don't see the edges. So I try to do a lot of petal folds without seeing the edges. That way you don't have to worry about fray and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to do this last one and we'll stick all these in. Now somebody asked me if you could do this with tablecloth on a wire frame. I'm sure there's a way. I don't really use wire frames anymore, but my thinking is it might twist and stuff, so I'm not sure. So I really can't answer that question. But once you use Unique and Create, you're pretty much, you kind of get addicted to them. I use the chip analogy all the time because once you use it once, you can't just make one wreath. You have to do more. All right, so let's stick all these in. Press and then pull, and it just gives it a better flare when you press the down. So I just kind of pull it, press down with my thumb, and you see how it flared out a bit. So we're doing row 2. Row 1, I'm just going to take a few leaves from a flower bush I have, so it'll make it like look more realistic. You don't have to do any green if you don't want. I just like how it frames the flowers. You'll never go back to wire. Yeah, it's different. Like this, our boards are a different way of wreathing. That's all. They're more, they're easier to teach. They use less supplies. You can use all kinds of different supplies. I've used everything. And they're much faster. Much, much faster. So now we'll go around and cut all our tails off. I can't wait to put the center on. I can see what this is going to look like in my head, and it's going to be so beautiful. People are not going to be able to get over the fact that it's a tablecloth. And the nice thing is this, for this, as I was saying with the pumpkin one when I made it the other day, that you can hang this from a mirror in your dining room or hang it on your wall or whatever, and buy a coordinating tablecloth for your actual table. Because they even had runners in this color, and so your table and your wreath or your wall hanger or whatever will all match. So that's really fun. Okay, so we got, how many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces left to go. So I'm going to do 10 of these. And Lolly just fell up the stairs. First day on the new feet, Lolly. The cutter, the zip tie gun I got on Amazon. It's pretty cheap. I think it was, oh God, I can't remember. I'm not going to tell you how much it was, but I think it was less than 20. And that was Amazon.ca. They definitely have them on Amazon.com. Dave bought me a different one. Oh, I have one here. It's a red one, and it was really heavy, and it was metal. And I didn't like that one at all. A, it was too heavy for me. And B, I couldn't figure out how to use the darn thing. So I thought, okay, I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way. And then I kept watching everybody use the zip tie guns. Was it $13? Okay. And it's also called a cable tie gun, I believe, as well. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna buy the one everybody else is buying. And again, it still took me, you know, a day or two to get used to it. But once I finally figured it out, it was like, oh, now I know what everybody's talking about. So much easier. So we got 3. As I say, 10 we needed. I'm definitely going to have to find some red tablecloth. Now, of course, you can do poinsettia with, you know, mesh, and I have beautiful ribbons I bought. So I'm going to be doing a Franklin poinsettia, Franklin flower with all ribbon. But the tablecloth's so easy, and it's so cheap, and there's so much variety. Alrighty. So we got 4. Now, if you use deco tubing in the center of your flower, this flower, you can most definitely hang it outside in the weather, because the tablecloth is plastic, so it's pretty much weather resistant. The board is plastic, weather resistant, and the zip ties are plastic and weather resistant. So you wouldn't have a problem putting it out on like a garden fence or your backyard fence or wherever. And if you have not heard of Unique and Creek before, our boards are made with 100% recycled materials. They're actually made out of yogurt containers, and they're actually recyclable, but you can reuse them. So if you wanted to use something else, and Dave hates when I say this, but you can easily flip it over top of the garbage can, cut all the zip ties off the back, and reuse the board. There you go. And you definitely, especially if you're doing craft shows, you're definitely going to want to put a sticker, even if it's an address sticker, some kind of label or sticker or something of your business, of where somebody could buy your wreath should they want another one. And I say especially craft shows because people buy wreaths at craft shows. They'll put them up, their neighbor will come over, their friend, and they'll say, oh, what a beautiful wreath, where did you get it? And most people's answer are, I don't know, some lady at I bought it from some lady at a craft show. I don't remember the name. But if you put a sticker on the back of your wreath frame, they will be able to say, oh, you can find her information right here. Do I have 10 yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 more. So I would say even if you're sending it out, put a sticker on, because I know I buy signs all the time from people, and I'll put them to the side and maybe use them a month after I get them or whatever. And if they don't have something on the back of the sign, I have not a clue who made it. So you want to be unforgettable, because 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to come over to that person's house and want the same wreath as they have. Craft shows are a lot of fun. They can be a hit and miss. When I was doing craft shows, I never did a craft show in the summer, ever. I find summer craft shows to not be very well attended at all. And people are not looking to buy wreaths or anything. They're not looking for that stuff. The best time to do craft shows are fall ones and spring. I wouldn't do an outdoor one personally, because the weather is so unpredictable. And if it's raining and stuff, the attendance will be very poor. And you will still be standing in the rain. So that's just my personal experience. My friend and I used to do craft shows all the time, but we would do them, you know, a few hours away from us, so we could actually rent a room and actually take off and leave the husbands and the kids at home and make girls' weekend out of them. So that was fun. And then we'd come back with a little bit of spending money. Usually spent it all at the craft show while we were there, but it was still made it a lot of fun. Okay, I think we're on our last one. Yeah, and ask. When you're doing a craft show, make sure you ask what last year's attendance is and how many other wreathers are going to be there, and you know, and kind of ask questions. Don't be scared to ask questions. Okay, let's just pop all these in now. Some of these look a bit smaller than the others. I don't know why. Or maybe it's just me. Look at that. Look how fast I did that row. I am using tablecloth, a flannel backed tablecloth. And you don't want the thick flannel back. You'll know the thick flannel back because the price will be quite expensive. You just want a thinner flannel back, and they're about, well, you can get them at the Dollar Tree. They're called Pivas. Oh, actually, I have to take this up. Let's see if I can find the solid colored ones I just bought. Now I press down on the center. It gives it a tighter fit on the board, and it actually flares them out a little better. So as you can see, you don't see any of the zip ties because we're layering it layers. So the zip ties are not seen. And can you guys see how it's starting to form a flower? Really love this mustard color. So pretty. Yes, and they definitely fit between two doors, and that's another reason I did create the boards. I do live in Canada, and we pretty much all have storm doors. And we do not want to put, we have 4 seasons, so we do not want to put our beautiful wreaths out in the inclement weather because they will get totally ruined. So I used to make the big wreath, you know, with the work form and everything, and I couldn't sell them. People wanted thinner wreaths. So that was another point when I was making these frames of what I needed it to do. This is going to be so pretty. All right. No, I don't remove them because even if they fall off, it's not a big deal because they've already served their purpose. I put this one in too far. I just put the rubber bands around them just so I could pop them all in. The sun will eventually probably disintegrate them. But if they fall off, the customer won't even be able to tell because they won't even be able to see it. Yay, one more. I'm excited to see this done. I'm going to press this one down. Okay, and one more zip tie to put in. Now you would do this the same way if you're using deco mesh poly burlap, like if you want to do this type of petal. Like I said, we have, I don't know how many petals, we have so many different petals that make different flowers. This is one of the easier petals to do. So if you're thinking about doing workshops, I always recommend to people to start with this one because it's very easy to teach. And once they do pretty much the first row, they have the hang of it. The only downfall is that you can see the edges, so you may want to cut their mesh for them so they have a nice finished product when they're done. All right, so we're all done that. Just going to go around and straighten these a little bit. It'll probably get all kerfuffled anyways once it's done. Okay, so this is the front, there's the back, so it's still nice and neat. Okay, and you just see the backs of the zip tie. All right, and we're going to preload preload open the 4 holes in row 5. So I'm not going to close them because we are going to be using some burlap here and do a ruffle. And we're going to make our center right on the board, so there's no extra styrofoam ball or anything like that. Okay, so we got the 4 preloaded, open. I'm just going to put this to the side now. Now I have this roll of burlap. I want to make a nice full center. Sorry, I'm just going to grab a drink here. Ginger ale always feels good when you're sick. So this is a nice dark chocolate brown. Now what I was going to do, I was going to just cut it in 4s and use the whole roll, but I think it might be a little much. So I'm thinking cutting it maybe 36 inches. Let me check. So again, this came from Hobby Lobby. It's always on sale every other week. So usually when the ribbon's on sale, the burlap is, and they have all different colors of the burlap. All right, so I cut this 36 inches. And what I'm going to do, now you might want to have a clothespin handy. This is where you need another set of hands, comes in for the clothespin. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start scrunching it right up the center. Actually 36 is just probably perfect. It might be even too much. Okay, just like that. So it's going to make this kind of flowerish type formation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my board. Looks like a raincoat on the on the screen. It's not a raincoat, I promise, but it's pretty cool. What I'm going to do is take the center of this burlap and put it right between the 2 holes here, just like that. And then I'm going to close it. Now before I zip it really tight, I want to make sure that it's totally in the middle. And I think it is. Okay, I'm going to squeeze it together and tighten it up. Get this to... All right, push this to the side. Now once this starts bunching up onto itself, it is going to really get really full and you won't see any of the zip tie. And you don't see any of the board. So 36 inches seems to be the perfect size. All right, so let's try that again. So we need 4 of these at 36 inches. 2. Actually, I might use the whole, I might end up using the whole roll anyways. 3, 4. Let's see how much we have left. Okay, so 36. You'll have one 36-inch piece left. Okay, so again, what we're going to do is just scrunch right up the center. Nothing fancy. Okay, and when this is done, it'll look so nice, and there's no extra supplies involved, no styrofoam, no nothing. Now, if you wanted to make your center or your ruffles and put them to the side or pre-make them, you can put a clothespin in the center of them and put it to the side. I'm just going to put it right on the board. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next one. So I'm just going to push this one out of the way. Place this middle right down. Do the zip tie up, but not really super tight, because I want to make sure it's in the middle of the ruffle here. Just be a little bit. There we go. I think that looks good. Squish it down and pull that zip tie nice and tight. Now, I don't know if the zip tie gun will get it tight enough. Usually with the center like this, because it is so thick, I usually like to get my needle nose pliers in there. Seems to be working okay. Okay, I'm just going to put a clothespin just to hold these back, like that. So, like I said, this roll of burlap cost me $3. So it's pretty simple and pretty cheap. And I think I have enough tablecloth to do another flower. So that tablecloth could do 2 flowers, and obviously you'll need 2 rolls of burlap. Put it in the center. Make sure it's all centered here. So you can see how full it really is getting. See if I have my needle nose pliers. I do. So you can just get a pair of needle nose pliers, and you may be able to get it a little bit tighter than the zip tie gun. And then just turn this to the side. All right, one more. This is pretty full. One more in there. And then we'll pull it all up to get it all going into different ways. The ruffles. And we're done. Oh no, I want to put a nice hanger on it. I'm just going to use some jute for a hanger and maybe put a bow. Alrighty. Put this in the middle. This is very full. You could probably even do 24 inches. Like, this is super full. But this is just a really easy way. You could do this with felt as well, but I really like the look of the burlap. Push this to the side. All right, now we're going to just pull these ruffles so they go all different ways. I'm crinkling it with my belly here because it's hanging over. And it is about 24 inches in diameter. So I really like the flowers made on the large board. Now you can do this on the small board as well. So if you don't want such a big flower, but this is the perfect size for somebody's front door. Once I get my mirror hung up in my dining room and get my dining room back, I'll hang it up on my mirror because that is like the new style. Especially for farmhouse, this would be perfect. Look how pretty this is. So no extra anything, just zip tying it right to the board. Okay. And I do realize it does look like a raincoat, but it's actually not light reflecting off. There's actually leaves on this tablecloth that are a lighter yellow. So it's not the light reflection, it's actually like leaves on it. It's so pretty. Okay, and that's the back of it, so you can still see how nice and neat it is. Okay, everything's done right on the board. Love it. Love, love, love it. Okay, so now I'm going to make a hanger. I'll get some green leaves in a second too. And I'm just going to use like leaves from an actual floral bush. Now I'll go around and pull up all the petals here, make sure they're all. So these right here were not ironed, like I had mentioned at the beginning, and these were ironed. So I must say that I do like the ironed ones better because they're not as crinkly and wrinkled as this one. So I did some of it so I could see the difference and let you guys know. So I would take the time after you cut it, like I said, to use the parchment paper and the towel, and take your time and maybe iron them. Now your customer would probably not know the difference, but you'll know the difference now because I just told you. All right, so let's make a little hanger for this. Find my 2 holes, which are right here. I got a big piece here. So I'm just going to thread this through. Which way do I want? And I'm just going to do a simple, cute bow, like tied bow. Might be too long. Okay, so I knotted it, and now I'm just going to do a very simple, just knotted bow. Now I'm sure you can do fancier. You can do this with ribbon. But I'm simple. So here's my little bow hanger. And now I'm just going to get a few of the leaves and I'm going to zip tie them on the board and we're going to be done. Let's see, do I like these ones or do I like these ones? I got this beautiful bouquet at Trends and Gems when I was in New York. And they are online, but they have these cute little green green leaves on them. Now you can make green leaves with deco mash. You can find, I did find a moss green solid tablecloth. I'm just going to put a couple of these on. Don't think I need 3. I don't know if you're even going to be able to see them. Let's see. So what I'm doing is, they're actually not long enough. Let me see if I have bigger ones. Oh, you know, I think I have them. I thought I had bigger ones here. Don't seem to have them. Let's see. I have this greenery bush. It's really pretty. I think I might cut some of this, a couple of these off. Let's see. Where's my hanger? Right there. So I'm going to put the zip tie is going to go down through this hole. I'm just going to put this and zip tie this onto the board, and I will hot glue it. I just want to see how it looks first. Oh, that looks pretty. Very pretty. See how that green just gives it a little bit of a pop? And I've zip tied it right to the board. Now I'm going to have to turn my hot glue gun. I will hot glue gun it, or hot glue it. So I put one here. I don't like to use all 8. I don't like too much green going on. So I'll put one on the opposite side here. And it's just one of these stems. Like I said, I got these at Trends and Gems. They had some great deals. But if you have nice big green leaves, or even if you want to use a green piece of tablecloth or whatever, you could use whatever your heart's desires. You can use deco mash. Don't be scared to mix and match your different materials that you're using. And I think I'll put one maybe just here. I'm going to just do 3. Alrighty. Stick that through. So like I said, I will be gluing it also. And then once it's glued on, I'll be able to spread them out a little better. Okay, we'll cut these off. And you want to make sure the heads are either sticking out the side or popped right into the hole. So you don't want anything sharp on the back side so nothing scratches anything. Okay. Oh, that looks so pretty. I'll hang it up in 1 second behind me and then you guys can see. Our center is on point. And my little snowman. How cute is this? And to show you guys, you can make your own snowball mesh if you don't have any with just simple wool incorporated in your on top of your mesh. Okay, I'm going to hang this up and we are done. I will hot glue them a little bit later, or once my glue gun is ready to go. Okay. My bow just came undone. See if I tie it this way, if it'll sit nicer. Okay, so I'll pull it up for you guys to see. I'm gonna have to move the greenery a bit around, but I'll do that once it's the glue is dry, or the glue is hot. Okay, close your eyes. I'm going to be moving the camera. See if you guys can see it. I'll turn this light off so it stops reflecting. There we go. Alrighty. My bow's not the prettiest, but I'll fix it for pictures. Alright, and you're going to fix your petals. And do all your primping. Like I said, once my glue gun heats up, I will hot glue. Then I'll be able to move these greenery around to wherever I want it. And that's it. That is a tablecloth sunflower. Pretty neat. I might add some more greenery because I do like this look that it has. So, and fix my petals. But an easy project for you guys to do. Sitting watching a movie, you can knock out a couple of these. And yeah. So thank you all for joining me, and I am going to hit the hay and go see how my husband is feeling and bring him some ginger ale. And yes, so please like and share my page if you haven't already. That is the most appreciative thing that anybody doing a Facebook Live can get, is showing the love of the page and sharing it with everybody else. And I love you all. Okay? Have a great night, everybody, and we'll talk to you really soon. Bye, guys.